Hello, I am going to make a little video showing you how to create a R file, an R org file, and run it, which is what we did in class, but it might be useful to see this once again outside of the recording. So this is the splash screen, the screen that Emacs starts with, the startup screen. And the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new file. You see here at the bottom which directory I'm at. So I'm just going to create a new file called testr.org. Already have that file, so I'm going to create a new one. This is an empty file. You can see it's org mode down here. It's empty. Its file name is testr.org. It's not saved at the moment, so there isn't actually a file right now until I save it. And the first thing I do is I add the property line. It's a bit bigger, and you can see the difference. Many of you wrote something like this. This is just text, but this is metadata. So this means that Emacs will use the following as properties of any code block that belongs to this language, R in this case. So the properties we want every code block to have is that it should run on a R console called r*r. Could name this anything, but I'm naming it r*r because that's the name for non-file buffers. I'm going to show in a moment how that goes, but I'm going to finish the command first. And then I want all the results to be put out to the screen. And that's all I need. Now this is metadata, but it's also a command for Emacs, so I can run it. And I run this by writing Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C. And the answer is local setup has been refreshed. So I know now that this is the property of every code block. Now, if you have a file that already has this line and you open the file again, you do not have to do that. So I'm going to close this file again. I'm going to open it, test2, and now I do not need to run it again. But my file will have these properties. Another thing that's useful to have, I have put it in a short version, which is startup. So this means that when the file is opened, all the headlines will be hidden, all the code blocks will be hidden as well, everything will be automatically indented, and certain math symbols will automatically be shown. But this last one, the entity splitter, you don't really need. So I'm going to start with the first thing, which is a headline. And again, you see, I'm going to switch my org bullets mode off here. Again, you see if you write star, first R program, you get nothing, you get just text. This is just text. But if you make a space, so this character can be recognized, you can see it's a headline now. The second headline, same thing. Second program would look like this, but if I make a space, I suddenly have a headline. Okay, so and this line I just added, so I actually have to run it to activate it, and from now on you can see when I go down here a few lines, it's automatically indented. So this is a first R code block to check that everything is in order. In particular, that the ESS package is installed. ESS is installed. R is installed. That's really all we need. And actually, there's something else. And the .emacs configuration file is loaded. This is a file that I wrote that you're using. Okay, so let's start with the code block. To create any code block, you can, based on my configuration file, use the short smaller s. So if you write smaller s and then you press the tab key, you get a code block. Now this could be a C code block, it could be a C++ code block, it could be an bash code block, and it could be an R code block. And you don't need, at the moment, if you just want to run R console commands, you don't need anything else but R. In fact, if I leave it out, and I write str empty cars, which is the structure of the empty cars, and I try to run that, I get an error. As you can see, the message area at the bottom, no function exists for this. However, if I put an R in here, it's all different. If I now go down and I try to run this, I'll be asked if I want to start an R shell in the current directory. Now it's important that this address here at the bottom is the same one as your file. But if you start it from within this file, it's definitely going to be the same one. So all you need to do here is just type enter, and it's been run. Now there's a little bit of magic here. I'm going to close this. The nice thing about code blocks is they can be hidden and closed. Everything here can be hidden if you wanted to. For some reason this does not get hidden. I don't know why. And if I split the screen, you can see, and I go down, Ctrl+X-O, I go down and look for the buffer, Ctrl+X-B to look for all the open buffers. You see one of the buffers here is the *r* buffer. It is the *r* buffer because up here we said the session should be called r*r. So if I open that buffer, you can see at the bottom oops, that's not what I wanted. At the bottom you can see the console. I'm going to make that a bit bigger, in which all the commands are being run. Yeah, so R started up here and runs in the background to run all these commands. You can use the console as such as well. So you, for example, you could write head empty cars here, and you would execute it here. This is just like a regular shell. However, it's more comfortable, and you can write documents and copy and paste if you have code blocks. So same thing here. The command that I just executed, I'm just going to leave this open, the shell, for a moment. You can see what happens in parallel up here. And down here, I'm going to open this code block and I run it. And you can see it appears at the top and it's run in the console at the bottom. But I don't need the console. I can just add new code blocks here, like top 6 lines of empty cars. I should have said here something like print the structure of empty cars. And here top 6 lines of empty cars, same thing, smaller as tab, R. And here, by the way, to move this in, I press tab, and then I can just write head of empty cars, just like before. And if I do that, I get the result here. And that's it. Now I save the file, Ctrl+X, Ctrl+S, and that's it.